Have to stop doing sports algorithm videos, people. But I have to do another one, and I figured I'll just do a full-on NFL Week 13 review out of it because then I won't have to do that anymore. I'm gonna do two birds with one stone here, guys. So there's this one area in this NFL algorithm. It's in the schedule sheet. It's a weird thing that I almost never do, which is I have a manual change you have to make every time it's a new week. It's part of updating the schedule. And by gosh golly, I always forget to update this thing. It's right here. Okay. It changes the scores. This is the problem. Is I'm like, God damn it. I send out a version. I'm like, oh, I forgot to look at how different stuff is. We had Buffalo's 2020. I just did a video about this, right? I'm on to other work. I don't want to pay attention to this yet. I'm going to obviously do this because I can't give you bad information. And I want you to understand how to manipulate this. It says 2020. Then you're like, Ken, what are you talking about? You have to change a number in the schedule to what? Yeah, to the current week. Look, there's a big red word here. Does anybody ever call me on this? Because when I send out a version with the wrong week number in here, does anybody ever look at this? Probably not. Well, it changes the scores. And let me tell you why it changes the scores. It changes the scores because it looks back at the history of this season and it provides a current win-loss percentage. It's whatever week you set this at is how many games you have in the history of this week. Because it doesn't know when you update the schedule. It doesn't know that if you put a number in here, whether or not you want it to apply. So you have to change that as the week starts. All you have to do. And I forget to do it all the time. So there's a different look. So let's first start on Thursday night for anybody who sees this before the game. And what it did was it added the last couple games of the season in here, and it showed that the Patriots will score even less, is what it showed. It moved them down to 20 points, and it made this a little more in favor of the Bills. So that makes that Patriots plus 4.5 pick even weaker, in my opinion, because it gives them fewer points and it brings in an under more. I don't know what the weather's like in New England, but if it's cold and crappy, maybe this game will go under. Don't know. I'm not going to worry about it too much. But because we had to bring this up, that you have to change that, and I'm sorry, I got to fix that. What can we do? Well, I think in order to never make this error again, okay, this is what you have to do. Is in this number, it's going to go berserko if I connect it to a formula, but that's really what I should do. Instead, I'm going to do right here. And right under the week, does it let me type here? Right under the week, I'm going to say, okay, ready? Equals if this thing equals this thing, current week, it's even got a range. Oh my gosh. Then, okay. Otherwise, all hell has broken loose. Okay, that's what happens if we don't do that right. So that when I screw up, okay, when I screw up and I'm like, don't change it next week, and it starts weeks, let's say we're at week 12. What did this thing look like last week? What happens? All hell has broken loose. I almost want to make it colored as well. I want to say text that contains hell is going to be red. And that was going to pop up, and that's going to hopefully cue me into being like, wait a minute, what happened? Oh, did I forget to choose that stupid schedule thing again? Okay, done. Now, finally, solved forever. That is a problem. I've made that mistake more than a handful of times across over the last few years that I have not had that correct and provided significantly different projected scoring. And I apologize. And hopefully, hell will not break loose in the future. Now, or when you see that, be like, Ken, did you really let all hell's broken loose be pink up here for an entire video? And the answer is probably I will. But let's talk about the rest of the games. So, tougher game here on Thursday night. What about Sunday? So you've got Detroit crushing Jacksonville, even more points. This is believable, though, right? Like, I mean, it's Jacksonville. This team's going to throw a game. I love this algorithm if it's really picking off how they're going to try to rig games. They were like, yeah, we had Detroit putting up 70 points here on week 13. So anybody wants to bet the alternate over, you're going to make a fortune. That's what the algorithm says is going to happen there. Now, take this stuff with a grain of salt. Why is it distorting this? We've probably got 2 kickers in there for Detroit. That's number 1. So you got to go in here and you start to get into stuff, which makes me say that even though I got paid today, I don't want to keep doing this forever. You got a kicker of 1.3. Let's remove half of Badgley's kicking. Let me explain what's going on there. So when you go into the kicker sheet, you'll see that you got some duplicate people here. And they're free agents in general, and they're recorded as free agents. It's usually not a problem. But somebody like Badgley, he's played on 2 teams. So I like to remove one of the Badgley stats by just calling him a slightly different name. So that won't be pink anymore. And that's going to remove his stats. And then when you go and refresh this, his kicker rating is going to drop to something reasonable. We can look at all of our kickers to make sure that we don't have any unreasonable kickers anywhere. And we still have a 1.25 under Detroit. Really? Still? Who else do they have? They've got Siebert as well. So you don't want to have 2 kickers. That's usually not okay. Let me show you how do we have to do this. This is part of scoring. It never ends, folks. Don't worry about your free agents. Nobody cares about the free agents. But yeah, what happened here? So if there's 2 of them, you got 2 on Tennessee with Randy Bullock and Shudlak. So I would say you could probably take out the Shudlak. Yeah, let's do that. Let's get rid of Shudlak because you don't want to. It too much distorts the score. You get rid of Wisnowski is what you would do. Let's do that. Mitch is Wisnowski gone. Get rid of him. Then so you really need to go with just 1 kicker, like I said, because it does super distort. And then what happened on Detroit? I guess Siebert goes. I mean, is Badgley still hurt? Like, what's happening there? Or is there an injury here? No. No and no. I'm still going to get rid of Austin Siebert for some reason. So now things actually might make a little bit more sense scoring wise. Cancel. So we need to look at kickers, running backs, wide receivers. Sometimes I do that. Tight ends, safeties. That's about good. Now we got a whole brand new scoring. Yep, this is what's called work, people. Everything just changed drastically. And Detroit moved all the way down here. And all of a sudden, this game still has a ton of points, but at least got a little bit more reasonable to bag a fire of 5. Packers outscore the Bears. Is Jordan Love playing? What's going on there? Doesn't Rodgers have a broken thumb and hasn't he had one forever? It says this formerly Skins beat the Giants. Nice 133. Washington with Heineke at the helm has been, dare I say, reliable fairly recently. I haven't heard more about Dan Snyder getting sued, but I like those stories. I think you just got to just keep going at him. Make it a not money-making venture for him to run the team. And then I think he might sell when he understands that it just keeps losing because everybody sues because he's a horrible person and he whatever. And he has to bring in somebody like Heineke, probably a quarterback he thought would suck. And then he brings him in and he's pretty awesome. Like he's got spunk. That's the thing. He's got like Montana spunk to him. Like just whatever. Although Montana used to not throw a lot of interceptions in my memory. All right. Let's keep going. So it does like the Commanders there. 10 points. Wow. Then there's your Niners Dolphins. And yeah, the points there, everything. What else? Houston beats Cleveland at plus 270. I'm never surprised when Houston beats anyone, but it does something with Houston. So I'm going to go dig into it's Houston because why is Houston getting credit for scoring so many points all the time? I don't want to know. Is it because they run a huge roster of guys and spread it around, and somehow that is creating more scoring? They only have 1 kicker. They got a ton of tight ends. I think some of these guys are probably not on the depth chart. So if you really want to take the time inside the NFL algorithm and get this thing awesome, I bet you a lot of these guys are almost off the depth chart already. And in that sense, if they've been permanently replaced or replaced for a while, I suspect that Houston just keeps a big roster or something. But these guys shouldn't be showing up here if they're hurt. So they're all playable. I don't know. It makes me want to just get some of these guys off to lower the score, or at least understand that. I think that's why it's inflating Houston's projection, because Houston's got a bad win score percentage, and Washington has a bad win score percentage against the Giants. I'm kind of surprised to see that, but I do like to see this. I'll stop saying the L word, but I'm not betting. Actually, I can't curse anything now. I'm not betting anymore. I just get to watch and enjoy. I like not betting. Not betting is fun because you only enjoy it if like you like watching sports. I don't like watching sports all that much. I mean, it's fun to have in the background when you have money on it. If you don't have money on it, man, do I not pay attention. But I will pay attention uh, to see how the video did, and that's a lot healthier way to review it. Niners. Yeah, so beware of this Houston because they're inflated for some reason. I have to do something about that. Raiders beat the Chargers. Anything can happen here in this kind of game. Says 6 points in favor of the Raiders, though. So there's your fun. Jets beat the Vikings 21-15. Here. I've become a Jets fan. I'm a Jets and a Commanders fan, everybody. If you told me that 10 years ago, I'd be like, what sport? Jets and Commanders, you say, huh? I'm like, there's the Winnipeg Jets. I don't think there's a Commanders hockey team. Baltimore should beat Denver, but the line's way down here. So this is one where the algorithm says Baltimore is not worthy of this line. And this is actually a close game. Totally believable, actually. But the win score doesn't say so, but the projected score does. Projected score did pretty good things with Denver last week against Carolina. Not a problem. Cincinnati beats the Chiefs at an underdog line. They go under, and Cincinnati wins. So the story is Cincinnati at home stops Mahomes and crazy Chiefs offense. I can believe that narrative. Burrow versus Mahomes, but it's Cincinnati's D that is the story. I'm understanding of that. Look at where they have the over under this game as the highest over under of all. And so if you look at how the algorithm disagrees point projection wise with what the odds makers consensus is, it's not that it's off all that much, but it sees other games with a lot more points, and it sees a game where Kansas City is stopped and loses to Cincinnati's defense just barely, and Burrow has enough to put up the offense. I don't know what the weather's like in Cincinnati either. So the weather could bring that score down, I would imagine, and might be one of the reasons that it would be easier for them to win a defensive game. Not sure, but that's spell like can you? Now I have terrible betting instincts, but it's great that I can't bet. But I see this and I'm like, how can you not do a straight bet on that? And it goes with the under, in my opinion, if you're doing the combo parlay one. Next, Eagles and Titans. Eagles, you'd think would win. We just removed a second kicker from the Titans when we were editing things, and that gives this, but the line is way down here. So the algorithm says that the Eagles are not worthy of this line and don't cover. But you're starting to get to games where the projected Marjorie. That's right. The projected Marjorie Taylor Greene of this game is. No, the projected margin or a victory is not Marjorie, is 2 or less, which means they are toss-up games. So you're looking to say, well, is there some big difference between what the win score is saying and what the projected score is saying? Meaning the odds makers' common consensus, people think that Atlanta, well, not necessarily that Atlanta will beat Pittsburgh. I get that. There should be better money on Pittsburgh, and Atlanta knows how to lose games. So that I totally understand. But Philly, people think Philly will do a rougher job on Tennessee and beat them harder. And the algorithm says no, it's actually pretty close. It's a 3-score game. It's pretty close. Atlanta, Pittsburgh, obviously pretty close. That seems like a really tough game to bet on. And the Colts are supposed to beat the Cowboys according to score. That's crazy. At plus 420, smoke it up, everybody. What? What is this? All right. Cowboys covering 11 points down here doesn't make any sense. But this is in Dallas. It's not in Indianapolis. Yet the algorithm still says that Indianapolis wins this game here, but in no way by projected score, by a win score percentage. So like obviously win score agrees with the odds makers wholeheartedly, and this predicted score is probably wacky. Probably. But it says take the Colts plus 11. And Cowboys covering 11. Last time I drove by Dallas, there was a game going on, and there was like a million points in the score. Dallas was down like 20 some points in the first quarter, and they ended up coming back to win in overtime, I think. Excuse me. So crazy stuff can happen in Dallas. But a lot of that, like in any game, to win a game by more than a touchdown and a field goal requires some craziness. And so that's why it says Colts plus 11 down here. Also, it says Rams plus 7.5 because there's a tie here. What? A tie against Seattle because the Rams are at home. It's believable. The Rams are plus 290 to win this game. It's supposed to be a tie. So there's some crazy straight bets on here. I'm not taking Atlanta. That doesn't make any sense. That's only minus one, only 100. But Cincinnati, Indianapolis plus 11, I guess. And really to win. That's funny too. Rams, Colts, Cincinnati. Says don't do Baltimore. Says do Jets. Do Jets. Says do Detroit because you get to do it against Jacksonville. This is a pair of teams that are not going to want to win this game. Both these teams love losing. They're like, how can we find the craziest ways to lose? I wish I could bet on both of them to lose, which is almost betting the tie. But I'd rather bet saying both of them just lose. Like, no, I watched that game. Both those teams lost. That's a funny one. It says the Raiders is an underdog. I know it says Houston, but the scoring is obviously funky. I mean, funny looking week. Funny looking week. And I'm not a betting man anymore, so I can't really give you advice, but I can update it as much as possible to get it as accurate as possible. And I would say it's not difficult, and I might actually do it because I might be looking at depth charts tonight. Can you believe that? Can you believe I'll be looking at depth charts potentially tonight for fantasy purposes? Oh God. Yeah, I might do that just for the hell of it. And I'll tell you what happens here because it needs to be perfect, as perfect as you can get it. You need to figure out which of these guys are really not going to get the ball at all and get them off here because this is too many. You have 3 quarterbacks. So who's not playing? I'm tempted to go to the depth chart right now because it's going to change this because the quarterback is magnified a little bit. And all right, let's ask Google this. Who's the starting quarterback for the Houston Texans this weekend?
According to Wikipedia, Davis Compton Mills is an American football quarterback for the Houston Texans of the National Football League.
Say what? Davis Mills is okay. This guy. So that means that Kyle Allen or Jeff Driscoll. Driscoll's the lowest one. Let's at least get rid of him. There can't be anything wrong doing that. Driscoll. That's why I can't do sports videos, guys. It never end. Never end.
Here's sports videos.
No, don't show me sports videos, Google. Jeff Driscoll, where is it? Yep, there we go. I'm just holding down control when I hit that, and that allows you to pluck one off of the slicer and hold down the control key. Yeah, it's a refresh. So this takes from 32 points it gave Houston. All of a sudden, it's only 31. There's more there. It's other guys. Like this is too many. I mean, nobody has 5 tight ends, right? So I could just take the ones right off the bottom. But I got to end this video. So guys, good luck. May all your picks be winning. I'm happy to root for the Commanders, and even though I can't bet, I'll be rooting them home. All right. So good luck, everybody. And on Monday night, of course, it's the Saints and the Bucks. 2 teams bet on the most ridiculous thing ever to happen because that is what is going to happen in that game. Good luck, everyone. May all your picks be winning.